From the Hussman School of Journalism and Media at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics. This is Sports Extra.
It's starting to look like 2022 all over again for the Carolina football team. Good morning and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Lee Jeffries.
And I'm Landon Elliott. A promising season is imploding before our eyes. Thanks for joining us. The Heels have had a tough time with four-string quarterbacks and stopping the run against Georgia Tech in the past few years. Their luck didn't change on Saturday. Drake May and the Heels fell to Georgia Tech in Atlanta 46-42. The Heels led in the first half with touchdowns from Bryson Nesbitt, British Brooks, and two from Amarian Hampton. While hopes were high for the Heels at the half, the tides turned quickly in the second. The Tar Heels defense began to falter, showing an inability to contain Georgia Tech in both the run and the pass game. Georgia Tech exploited every gap, making it impossible for UNC's defense to stop their advance. The game concluded with a forced fumble after a Tez Walker catch, securing the win for the Yellow Jackets. The Tar Heels face off next against the Fighting Camels of Campbell this Saturday at Kenan Stadium. After making a first down reception, Devontae Walker took a violent blindside hit late in the fourth quarter. He was on the ground for several minutes. Walker was finally able to walk off the field unsteady from the hit, hospitalized in Atlanta, and was treated and released. He traveled home on a separate flight from the team Sunday. There's no word about when he might be able to return. For more insight into the annual Georgia Tech loss, here's football analyst and UNC football therapist Rachel Kivlin with her segment Routes with Rachel. Rachel?
Thanks, Landon. It was a scary Halloween weekend. UNC just had a ghost of a defense in the latest edition of this horror story, and the Georgia Tech curse continues. After losing to Virginia last week, everyone thought that Mack Brown's team would come back ready. However, once again, the ACC title game is now a distant dream thanks to a horrible defensive showing. This team hasn't played like a conference championship type team, particularly the downward spiraling defense. Tech averaged over 8 yards per run, and they did it well. I want you to keep an eye on the center right here. Mike, right over here. He's going to be blocking Power Eccles and is going to create this gaping wide hole. This defensive line, the entire game, was just working hard as he powers across that sideline until he's pushed out. We continue to see these moving the chains fast over and over again as Tech continued. UNC has now allowed more than 400 yards in 3 consecutive games and allowed nearly that many in the first half Saturday, with Georgia Tech going for 360. More than 270 of those came in the second, with the Heels defense letting up, wait for it, 635 total yards in this game. The abysmal defense didn't come as a result of them being on the field for too long. The offense kept scores coming and controlled and the clock in the third quarter. Unlike lapses in play calling and run strategy last week, from the start, UNC emphasized the running game, finishing with 267 yards rushing. Given the woeful defense, though, it wasn't enough. Hampton was a glimmer of hope with 153 rushing. You're going to see May with this quick shovel pass here. He is going to pass it off to Hampton, and this O-line is going to push this left, creating this gap for Hampton to come in. The O-line did a good job at getting Hampton to move those chains. Again, wasn't enough against an offense that was on fire. Looking forward to Saturday against Campbell, the program needs to give fans hope that the first 6 weeks of football weren't an incredible stroke of luck. Landon?
Rachel, what could fans look forward to with college football playoff hopes evaporating in the span of 2 weeks?
I mean, with the Heels hosting Campbell, an FCS team hopes fan that it can serve as a reset before the closing stretch that includes Duke, Clemson, and NC State.
Rachel, let's hope it is. We can't sleep on the Fighting Camels of Bowie's Creek coming into town Saturday. Thanks, Rachel.
Hoping for return to glory this year, the Heels men's basketball team took on St. Augustine's for an exhibition match at the Dean Dome Friday night. The Heels were on fire in the first half, shooting better than 55% from 3. Carolina also dominated the glass, out-rebounding St. Aug 62-25 in the game. UNC's fresh faces played great. Guard Elliot Cadeau showed off his versatility with an ankle breaker and a powerful one-handed jam. Junior small forward Harrison Ingram had 16 points and 9 rebounds, and freshman Zayden High had a double-double and 3 monstrous blocks. The Heels capped off their dominant win with a fan favorite, the Biscuit Boys. Carolina came out on top 117-53.
It's, playing hard, playing smart, playing together. I felt like tonight we played hard. I felt like we played smart, and we played together, and we had fun.
People who know a little something about the game think Carolina has one of the best big men in the country. The Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame has put Carolina fifth-year Armando Bacot on the watch list for the 2024 Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Award, named after one of the greatest basketball players of all time. The award recognizes the top center in men's college basketball. Throughout the 2023-2024 season, Bacot will compete against 19 other centers for the top spot. Fans hope Bacot can bring this one home to Chapel Hill. For a closer look at the 19th-ranked men's basketball team's performance, let's go to our men's basketball analyst, Caroline Daly, for Basketball on the Daily. Caroline?
Lee, after a disappointing season last year, the Heels came out hot against St. Aug with an air of excitement in the Dean Dome. The Heels were so far ahead, even the Biscuit Boys made an appearance, but sadly, exhibition games do not merit free Bojo, even with 117 points. It is apparent, though, that the Heels have depth. It looks like the starting five is going to be returners R.J. Davis and Armando Bacot, along with transfers Cormac Ryan, Paxton Wojcik, and Harrison Ingram. 7 Carolina players scored in the double digits. The 2 highest scorers were Davis and Ingram. Davis had a game-high 22 points with 17 points in just the first 5 minutes and 45 seconds of the game. He was followed by Ingram, who stuffed the stat sheet with 16 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 block shots. Now moving to the freshmen on this roster. Both Elliot Cadeau and Zayden High checked in after the first substitution, and High showed out. He grabbed 8 rebounds in his first 12 minutes and finished with a 10-point, 11-rebound double-double in 20 minutes. Cadeau finished with 7 points on 3 for 6 from the field with 4 assists. Now it also seems that the Heels have learned from their mistakes last season. They finished last in the ACC in shooting percentage with 31.2% from three-point range just a season ago, but they connected on 16 of 35 of long-range tries on Friday, 45.7%. That's a massive improvement. They shot the ball very well, used their size advantage to get rebounds, and shared the ball throughout the roster. I think this team has a lot of potential, and I'm excited to see what they do in their home opener a week from today against Radford. Lee?
Thanks, Caroline. Now, Landon, with all this talk about the start of the basketball season and the end of the football season, are you thinking that we are a basketball school or a football school?
Now, Lee, I'm going to have a bad journalist moment right now. I'm going to be biased and say football. I played it my whole life, so I have to say football.
Now, Landon, I love watching Carolina football, but these last 2 games have been disappointing, so.
I agree, Lee. It hasn't been great. The number 4 ranked UNC Focky team took on rival number 2 Duke on Friday evening at Karen Shelton Stadium. With tournament seating on the line in front of a packed standing room only senior night crowd. The Tar Heels were hyped up for head coach Aaron Matson's first matchup against that team from Durham. Quarters 1 to 3 were a back and forth battle, but the scoreboard remained 0-0. Then the fourth quarter came. Duke struck first to take a 1-0 lead, but UNC answered less than a minute later with a shot scored by freshman Zion Hawk, all the while being down a player because of a penalty. Senior Katie Dixon kept the momentum going by scoring a breakaway goal in the 51st minute to give the Tar Heels the lead and eventual victory. The biggest win of the season earned UNC the co-regular season ACC title and the number 1 tournament seed.
Tonight, it's a huge variety of emotions, but having my whole family here in the stands was something that just motivated me throughout the game, just to know that I'm loved no matter what by my teammates and my family, and no matter the result, but we pulled out a win, which makes it even better. So
it's special, and these are the games why you come to Carolina, why you want to put on a Carolina blue jersey, or for moments like this. And the girls showed up. I'm proud of them.
When we talk about field hockey, there's only one person I trust the most. Here's Riley Kennedy in the cage for a breakdown of how the Heels mounted the comeback.
Lana, I'll tell you this, play fast, play control. That's what UNC did, right? Duke scored first. What are you going to do? So now, right after it, UNC is going to reverse the ball. What does that mean? So they're going to reverse it across the field. For the Duke players, right, it starts right off in the middle of the field. They go this way. They all have to work this way. So that you have to move the whole defense. What you're going to do is you're going to attack this sideline. So, right, they're going to pass it right here. Yasmina has it. She's going to give a ball down to Peyton Worth. You're going to see when the camera moves. Only Peyton can get it or it goes out of bounds. That's exactly what you want. This is a great ball. So Peyton ends up getting this ball, right, doesn't go out of bounds. Now she's on this one-on-one matchup. What she's going to do with this Duke defender, she's going to make her open up her hips, right? She's going to turn her, right? She's kind of in no man's land. Turns her, this is perfect. Peyton's going to get a one touch in the circle and shoot it. Now, for these girls, when Peyton has this, I'm going to rewind it quick. So when Peyton's driving down, this is exactly what you want. You want to get these girls crashing down. You're going to want to play the angle. So what does that mean? You're going to want to be on this backside post, and you're going to want, if she puts a shot, you're going to kind of want to be right there and just play a good angle. Payne shoots it. Sana Hawk's here. What do I mean by the angle? See, she lines up. She's reading that ball. It's kind of like a rebound in basketball. Where's that ball going to go? Sana Hawk reads it, taps it in, Landon. And that was 26 seconds. UNC does that again. That's just a 2-minute drill, Landon.
Riley, UNC has the #1 overall seed in the ACC tournament. How do they stack up, and do they even have competition?
Yeah, so they stack up well, right? Their only ACC loss was against Virginia. Now, you guys will see this next when you guys look at the bracket. UNC can possibly match up with the Cavaliers in the semifinals. In Charlottesville, I like the Tar Heels to win the ACC's, Landon.
Another Kennedy prediction the people can trust. Now, Riley, before we let you go, you have to tell me, can we expect bingo calls from this UNC team?
You know, that's not really a thing, right? In field hockey, it's more lacrosse, but you're going to hear constant communication. That's why UNC is excelling late down the season.
Riley, I can't wait to hear that communication on the field. Thanks.
What would we be as a show if we didn't talk about beating Duke? Of course, that means bragging rights against our rival in any sports here at UNC. Friday, the Heels did this and clinched the top seed in the ACC tournament and drew a bye after winning against the Durham Devils. The first round of the ACC tournament starts tomorrow at the University of Virginia. With the bye, UNC will face off in the semifinals against the winner of Syracuse and Virginia. With the win, they'll have a chance to play against Duke again in the championship game on Friday.
In addition to playing at a very high level, several members of the team are helping train the next generation of field hockey superstars. Here's reporter Danny Hart.
What started as just a few girls deciding to band together to travel to their first tournament turned into an organization designed to help others take their love for field hockey to the next level.
Their mission? To create a space for athletes to hone their skills and develop a passion for the sport.
And thus, the journey of Carolina All-Stars field hockey began. Since its founding, Carolina All-Stars has produced many collegiate stars, one of whom is UNC's very own Katie Dixon, who played in all 21 games for the NCAA champions her junior season. Katie is an instructor for the U10s in the Academy Training Program.
Yeah, so Grant, actually the director over all Carolina All-Stars, he is my coach now at UNC, and I remember the first time he asked me, he's like, hey, do you want to come back and coach? And it was an immediate yes. I love the culture and community here at Carolina All-Stars, and just since I've grown up with it, it was really cool to be able to come back.
The Academy program is for athletes who are interested in improving their fundamental skills without the commitment of a travel team. They have groups all the way from U6 to high schoolers. UNC field hockey star Romeo Ricardo coaches the latter. One of her students, Avery Williams, believes that her time at Carolina All-Stars has been beneficial to her development both on and off the field.
On the field, definitely all the coaches know how to explain everything really well and just are super helpful. And off the field, like I was saying, social skills, they've really helped because just being able to bond with the team and being able to just have fun.
While the Fall Academy has come to an end, Carolina All-Stars will continue to host camps for the youth of the Carolina community. So whether you're new to the game or you've been perfecting your skills for years, Carolina All-Stars might be for you. I'm Danny Hart, reporting.
One of the great joys for the campers is watching their idols show their talents at Old Karen Shelton Stadium.
The #3 women's soccer team took on #20 Pitt in the first round of the ACC tournament last night. The game was a defensive battle early on, with some impressive saves by goalie Emmy Allen, who tallied 6 on the evening. After Pitt took the lead 1-0 in the 73rd minute, the Heels whipped in this goal from Ali Sintnor just 3 minutes later. The Heels took Pitt into a thrilling overtime where they had several chances to score, but just couldn't convert before Pitt stormed down the field for this game-winning goal. It was a heartbreaking loss for the Heels, and we'll see if they can unite for another deep NCAA tournament run.
The message was we're still in a position to win a national championship. We've got to basically do our best job like we did last year with that 2 seed and see if we can get back to the Final Four and have a chance to win a championship.
To break down the Heels' devastating first loss of the season, let's go to Caroline's Corner with soccer analyst Caroline Routh. Caroline?
Lee, the Heels survived the regular season unscathed and unbeaten. But late last night, the Heels experienced something unfamiliar to this team, a loss. Going into last night's game, Carolina's defense held 17 of its 18 opponents to 10 shots or less. Last night, Pitt outshot UNC 17-9. Now, in this play, we see a long ball played deep into UNC's defensive third. If you look at it right now, it's a 2v3, 2v4 if you count Emmy Allen. UNC clearly has the advantage, but look at the positioning. Pitt's Sarah Shansky as well as Amanda West are both ahead of UNC's defense. So what does Pitt do? They cross the ball over and they send off a header that gets just past Emmy Allen. Offensively, UNC struggled with interceptions. And this play that we're about to see, it's going to be a throw-in. Tori Delapruta is going to cut to the ball, but the Pitt's defense is going to poke the ball out. Now, what does UNC do? They try and force the ball back the same side they just came from. If you're UNC, you've got to know not to force the ball down the same side. You have to switch the fields. Eventually, they rework the ball and try and switch fields, but it's a weak pass that we have right here to get the ball across, and Pitt is there to intercept it. When the ball needs to get to the other side of the field, it's got to be a strong pass across. Now, in the last few minutes of the game, the Heels knew they had to catch up. Avery Patterson receives the ball and takes the ball left in the box, shrinking her angle to the goal. Now, she shoots the ball, but Pitt's goalie saves it. If we look right here, we got 4 UNC players all in the box, but none in this middle area. Now, if UNC is going to shoot the ball, you've got to be ready for the rebound. They were not there for the crash, and it was a fatal missed opportunity for the Heels. For the 3rd time in program history, UNC fell in the ACC quarterfinals. I hope this was a wake-up call for the Heels. Moving forward, they can't just avoid a loss, they must earn a win. Lee?
Caroline, what do you think this loss means for the team heading into the NCAA tournament?
Lee, I think this is exactly the lesson they needed to learn if they want to make it back to Cary. NCAA start on November 10th, and the Heels better be ready to finish the game.
Let's hope so. Thanks, Caroline.
On Saturday night, in a top 15 matchup, 10th-ranked men's soccer traveled to take on number 14 Virginia. Needing a win to crush UVA's hopes of a first-round bye in the ACC tournament, Carolina outshot the Cavaliers 6-1 in the first half. The best of their chances came in the 19th minute, off a cross from Matt Edwards that David Bursato couldn't put past the UVA goalie. The Cavaliers endured the barrage of shots and took advantage of their first corner in the 84th minute, when Muhammad Tiem emerged from a swarm of bodies to drill the ball into the back of the net. Carolina falls 1-0 and will host Virginia Tech in the first round of the ACC tournament.
Zach Gallen has taken the baseball world by storm this postseason, but his impact has been even greater on the program that started it all. Brendan Lunga has the story.
Zach Gallen, a UNC baseball alum, and now a Game 1 starter on baseball's biggest stage. Gallen took the mound Friday evening to commence the 119th World Series. He went 5 innings, striking out 5 and allowing 3 earned runs. For current Diamond Heel players and coaches, though, his stat line does not matter. He has inspired the team with his determination and discipline, which has allowed him to reach the highest of heights during his baseball career.
I think the inspiration for our guys is what can happen if you work and you care about the team, but you have to work to be good. Like, you have to put in the time, you have to put in the effort, you have to get your sleep, you have to take care of yourself off the field, and that's why Zach has continued to get better.
Gallen became just the 7th former Tar Heel to play in the Fall Classic. He's the 3rd in the past decade, joining 2015 starter Matt Harvey. and 2016 reliever Andrew Miller. Coach Forbes believes the Diamond Heels' continued presence in the World Series is a credit to the university and its program.
It's pretty amazing when I step back and think about that I was just around those guys and they were normal kids here, and now they're getting ready to be on the biggest stage.
Coach Forbes traveled to Texas to watch Gallon start in person. His relationship with Gallon goes back to his years at UNC, when Forbes served as associate head coach and pitching coach, and he said he started seeing special things from Gallon in his sophomore year.
He's a really close friend of mine now. We talk to players all the time, we hope that when you leave North Carolina, the relationship goes from being coach to being friend, and that, he knows he can call me if he needs to call me.
The UNC baseball team will continue to cheer on Gallon and his Diamondbacks, who are now just 3 wins away from being world champions. I'm Brendan Lunga, reporting.
We'll be rooting for Gallon alongside the Diamond Heels and the rest of the UNC community.
On Sunday, Carolina volleyball looked to defend home court against conference rival NC State. It wouldn't go the way they expected. Falling behind after a back-and-forth shootout in the first set, Carolina couldn't break through NC State's iron wall. The Heels made many attempts to crack the Wolfpack defense, including this slam by Mabry Schaffmaster and this impressive block by Sadie Swift. Carolina fought back, winning set 3, but eventually fell to the Wolfpack in set 4 in a tough Tobacco Road loss. Seems like the Heels were down in the digs department.
We recognize when we play the best teams, we have to earn points, and that was the one set where I felt like we earned a lot of our points. We didn't give them away, and that's the type of volleyball you see when that happens.
On Friday night, while the UNC basketball team was hooping it up, the wrestling team was throwing it down with the annual blue-white wrestle-offs. The night started out slow, with the matches being point for point, with escapes and little to no takedowns. But the show started when Lachlan McNeil, currently number 5 in the country, came out. McNeil was able to change levels, throwing off Derek Guanajuato, enabling McNeil to get the one-leg takedown, winning 11-1. The only major decision was from Danny Nini taking on Cullen Kane. Nini was able to get the early attack on Kane, who couldn't gain control. After 8 takedowns, Nini won 18-3. Team Blue dominated the match 23-9. Coming off an unsuccessful weekend at the ACHA Showcase, UNC Hockey looked to turn things around against NC State at the Wake Competition Center. Although State got on the scoreboard first, UNC quickly took back the lead. First with a shot right past the goalkeeper into the top corner of the net, followed by an assist from Cole Kozowski to Thomas Gilligan. Henry Foster quickly drove the puck over the goalkeeper for the Heels' 3rd goal. The score was tied 4-4 at the end of regulation, but the Heels couldn't get ahead in overtime, leaving the game at 4-5.
Tokyo Olympic finalist and star diver Anton Down-Jenkins has returned to North Carolina Swim and Dive as a graduate assistant. After finishing out a decorative collegiate career, reporter that goes by the name Eazy-E, aka Eric Haynes, tells us how the 2020 Olympian is adapting to the new role.
Down-Jenkins has spent the past 3 seasons at Carolina impressing with his agility above the water, earning 3 ACC championships and back-to-back ACC Diver of the Year awards. But now, the Wellington native is transitioning to a formal coaching role.
I'm just stoked that I get to continue to be a part of it and help all of the current divers and divers that are going to join our team in the future.
Head diving coach Yadel Gamboa, who coached Down-Jenkins at Carolina and during the 2020 Tokyo Olympics when he placed 8th for New Zealand, said his former diver has always displayed coaching potential.
He's always one of those guys that always, looking out for people around him and how can he help them, make them better. To be honest, there's nothing better that tells you right away that he could be a great coach.
With his master's program beginning this fall and the 2024 Olympics on the horizon, Down-Jenkins met with Coach Gamboa and made the difficult decision to retire from diving to focus on his studies.
I love the sport, I love the team, I love everyone that's still diving. So we kind of came to the conclusion that with the time I have, that helping out to coach would be a really good option.
Now, the 24-year-old is enjoying a new chapter of his life.
I really do love passing on my knowledge and because the feeling of diving is so fresh, I feel like it lets me provide like an athlete perspective.
Down Jenkins is set to work with the team until he graduates next year with his master's in sports administration. I'm Eric Haynes, reporting.
Down Jenkins and the rest of UNC Swim and Dive will be making a splash again Friday when they travel to Knoxville for the Tennessee Invitational.
Now, we have two contenders for the play of the week. The choices are between UNC field hockey and Carolina basketball. First, we have this game-winning goal by Katie Dixon on Friday night as she finds the loose ball and swipes it into the back of the net, handing UNC the ACC regular season championship. Second, we have this disrespectful ankle breaker by Elliot Cadeau, shifting gears with a quick crossover, and he's going to finish high off the glass with a finger roulette. You can vote for the play of the week on our Instagram this whole week. Now, Landon, I have one more question for you. What are you going to be for Halloween tomorrow night?
Lee, I watched a lot of good movies growing up. One of my favorites is Oscar the Shark Slayer from Shark Tale. So I might think about that the next couple days.
Love it. I love it.
And that does it for this edition of Sports Extra. We'll be back on Friday with a preview of another exciting weekend in Carolina athletics.